Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to be looking through an ex-Battlefield Hardline game developer's Twitter. And the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of gamers are called toxic all the time. And I just want to, I'm not targeting Zach in any way. I just want to expose that when a developer leaves a AAA company or something like that, they can be very toxic themselves. It's not just gamers. I've seen loads of developers have this toxic mindset, and some of them use it in a way to defend themselves against internet trolls, and that's all good. But there was one tweet from this developer that really frustrated me. So this developer's name is Zach Mumbach, if that's how you pronounce it. And he is a video game developer currently working on a game called Airborne Kingdom. I believe it released in November 2021. And he was formerly a developer for EA and Visceral Games, so Battlefield Hardline. And the thing that got me looking through his Twitter was someone called Scott said it's now the hip thing to say Hardline was actually underappreciated. Took a couple of titles, but people are starting to say how great it was. And then Zach goes, we gave the Battlefield community a gem with Hardline, and they didn't recognise or appreciate its greatness because they were too busy complaining about the theme, rather than enjoying the silky smooth gameplay. Now they are cursed to never be happy with a Battlefield game again. And then the responses in this thread, Zach is replying to everyone with just some of the most stupid responses I've seen. And the weirdest thing is, I looked quite far back through his Twitter, and all this sort of stuff, I think it only started really happening within the last month or two. I didn't really see much of it before, so I don't know what's happened to Zach and what's rattled his cage or whatever, but there must be something because of all these responses and stuff. It even went as far, before we go through some of the replies on the thread, it even went as far as someone putting, this may just be one of the most entitled tweets I've ever seen from a game developer. And then he's quoted the tweet, put laughing crying faces and put that's me. I get defending yourself, I get defending standing for what you believe in, and I also get being a bit of a troll, but when you're that cocky and stuff, it just comes across as arrogant and you look like a prick. So someone says, launching a game where part of the lore was police corruption and police brutality was and still is not the best approach for a game where people want to have fun. And then Zach goes, I don't get how that's worse than games built around wars where America raids other countries under false pretense and millions of innocents die as a result, but okay. I mean, fair enough, but I replied to that one and said, two wrongs make a right, do they? Just because something's worse, you can't do something that's slightly better and that be okay. Two wrongs do not make a right. And then someone says, weapon balance, or rather the weapons in general, were atrociously made. Your silky smooth gameplay is useless when it's only 5 weapons out of 50 that are being used. And Zach goes, this is funny because the usual complaint I get from the biggest haters is that everything about the game sucked except the gunplay. And I mean, half the time you don't even need to respond to these tweets. If you're getting hate on the internet, you're doing something right. Just leave it. Ignore the trolls. Ignore the idiots. You have to do it. I mean, sometimes it is fun to mess around with them. Granted, I'm not a saint. I've done it all before. But the best thing you can do is not feed into them. They're trolls for a reason. They come out of their little shells. They say random shit. And then they just expect a response. They want you to play into their games. It's like so many times you'll see someone put, I don't know, for an example, there's a big person, like a CEO of a gaming company, and they put out a tweet, and someone's really, really rude to them. The CEO will block them, and then that person goes and puts a picture, just pissed off this person enough to get blocked. They do it because they have nothing else to do, nothing better to do. But Zach is really, really, he's replying to so many of these responses. Some of the responses from Zach seem normal, and then some just seem so weird. When you get someone that they seem alright, but then every now and then they can just be this completely switched, have a really switched personality, and they can just be an absolute arsehole. That's exactly what this is. And the only reason I'm doing this video is to show everyone that it's the gaming industry as a whole that is toxic. It's not just the gamers. Developers, even the CEOs and stuff can do all this stuff as well. And then someone says, it wasn't great and it had a ton of problems at launch. It was a fun departure for the franchise and I applaud them stepping outside the typical Army v Army box and giving it a shot. I don't see what bearing it has on 2042's disaster. Zach replies and says, define a ton of problems. Our biggest issue at launch was the tuning for the K10. It wasn't. I can name another issue myself and I didn't play too much of Hardline, but then breaching charges were overpowered as shit. They were a lot of fun to use, don't get me wrong. I used to sit there, I can't remember the map, I have no idea, but there was like some swampy sort of areas and I used to just sit there in the bushes, just chucking breaching charges, vehicle comes past, boom, up to like 4 kills at a time. I think I sat there and had like a 40-for-0 gameplay of just purely breaching charges. So it's not about the biggest issue, it's the fact there were multiple issues. And just like, I mean, we're talking years later, this stuff isn't even relevant now. But sitting there and being in denial and saying, no, like, this was our biggest issue, I know exactly what was going on, when you don't. Someone replied to that and said, the fact that you changed the whole genre was a huge problem. Dead heist mode a week after launch and less gun variety just off the top of my head. Go watch the Battlefield documentary and learn the actual public opinion. Zach goes, I don't want to learn actual public opinion. I just want to live in an echo chamber where everyone tells me that everything I've ever made is the best. Like, what is that fucking response? There's just no need to do it. And then someone, I think it was actually the same person, like that last response from Zach about wanting to live in an echo chamber, the person that mentioned the Battlefield documentary also linked Angry Joe's review for Hardline. And then Zach goes, I'm not too worried about what a guy whose whole persona is to be angry, so much that angry is in his name, says about a game I made. Also, despite what he says, if you watch that review, he's smiling, laughing and having fun. And then someone goes, this is a joke, right? You're just trying to trigger the community. Hardline was derpy as fuck. The movements and handling of vehicles was the worst in the series. And then Zach goes, I was hoping to trigger the community and have everyone tell me that I suck. Unfortunately, it backfired and the majority of people are being nice. Saturday troll plans ruined. Why are you sitting on the internet being a fucking troll? You're a game developer, and I saw through Twitter that you have your own live streams that you do with one of your friends and you play games and stuff. Market that, try and grow it more. Stop being a dickhead on the internet. I really cannot stand it when people do all this trolling stuff. And I know I said, just ignore it, it's the best thing to do. But as I said as well, this video is to show you that it's not just gamers that are toxic. It's developers and stuff as well. That's what I mean. The whole industry is corrupt. It's fucking toxic. The whole thing. But looking through, and I mean, at this point, we know Zach is a troll. But this tweet that I'm trying to find again really pissed me off. I'm trying to find it here. So, seeing lots of top 10 games of 2021 lists today, just remember, if someone doesn't include It Takes Two on their list, don't be angry. You should feel bad for them because the only explanation for not including It Takes Two in their top 10 list is they don't have any friends. Why the fuck are you talking about people not having friends? Yeah, of course there's loads of people out there that don't have friends. Some that don't want friends. But just because a certain game isn't in the top 10... I mean, yeah, I know it's a troll, but I have to respond to this. It was posted on Christmas Day as well. And there's no... Even if you are trolling, there's no need to say shit like that. Because there are people out there that want to have friends and they can't for a multitude of different reasons. But not only that, seeing these lists today, just remember if someone don't include it, it's because they don't have friends. I mean, if you look at what MinMax posted, developer and guest on Dead Space's Deepest Dive, Zach, his top 10 games of 2021, in at number 4, Call of Duty Vanguard. Yeah, that game fucking sucks. It's only in your top 10 if you're a sweaty little troll or whatever. Like, there's so much shit you could say about his top 10. But just, like, some people might not like It Takes Two. It's got a certain story. It's really wound me up watching that. And I'm only doing this it's not just gamers that are toxic. And I feel so strong about this because all you ever see is articles saying gamers are toxic, gamers are bad, gamers are this. No, not all the time. Companies and developers and stuff do it too. And I'm going to wrap the video up in a second, but another example I have of this, of when companies and stuff, like, they feel powerful, they feel they can do whatever they want and nothing's going to come of it. I'm pretty sure it was Fallout 76 when players started trying to mod it. Bethesda didn't want any sort of mods in because it was an online game and it weren't fair, blah, blah, blah. But modders were getting banned. And then they were going, well, in previous Fallouts we've been allowed to mod. Like, what's the problem? But Bethesda started emailing people, players that were banned, and they were saying, if you can write us an essay explaining why it's bad to mod games and apologise to us, we'll unban your account. Fuck you. You have no right doing shit like that. That's a toxic sort of manner against your players. That's just, oh, we have power, we want you to do this, we want to make you look like a right dickhead. That's not fair. And toxicity comes in all different sizes, all shapes, all portions, whatever you want to call it. And it's not just the gamers. It's really, really frustrating because gamers get targeted so much for being toxic when it's not just them. But as I said, we're going to wrap the video up there. And the reason I've done this video, like the actual main sort of thing, is I'm passionate about this. I see articles and tweets all the time about gamers being assholes. I know there are a lot of twats out there in the community, but it's not just the gamers that do this. And I just want more people to realise that and understand, because I can guarantee whilst Zach was working with Visceral Games, there was no way he was acting like that towards the community. There was no way he was doing that trolling. As I said, I looked through his Twitter. He does streams and everything now with one of his friends. They played It Takes Two. They do A Way Out. All that sort of stuff. It's a very small Twitch account. Like the channel's small, not too many followers. But they sit there, they have fun, they play the game. But for some reason, I know Twitter is an absolute shithole of a place. But just in recent times, he's just become so much of a troll. And to just see the one talking about people not having friends, I don't think it's fair. It Takes Two has a very, very touching story. If your parents have ever gone through divorce or anything like that, that's what the game's about, trying to save a marriage. So to say, even if you are trolling, to say something like that, nah, fuck off. I don't think that's fair. But we're going to leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. And I hope you guys enjoyed it.